What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Fat Bass TV. Today we're going to do another exciting episode of Underwater View. Many of you that have been around my channel long enough know how much I like flipping a jig, dragging a jig, just using a jig period, catching fish on jigs. I've used a lot of different kind of jigs, but today I want to talk about one in particular that can do just about everything without having to change the jig. You know what I'm saying? This is the 6th Sense Divine Hybrid Jig. This thing can do just about anything. You can drag it, flip it, swim it, throw it in, lay downs, heavy cover, brush, whatever, and it won't get hung up. Unlike, some of the other jigs, if you try to flip a swim jig into, some tree branches, the head of it's probably going to get hung up 9 times out of 10. This one, it won't. This one it's the real deal. Let's get into it and see what it looks like underwater. Okay, so this is the 6th Sense Divine Hybrid Jig. Let's get into it and see exactly what it looks like underwater. Now I'm going to show you a couple different ways how I like to fish this thing. The first, number one way is just slowly dragging it. Just dragging it across the bottom. Now, I'm going to point this out, is I have done 0 modifications to the skirt. This is all I did was took it out of the package and tied it on. That's all I've done. I haven't trimmed the skirt or anything, but if you can notice on the video, see if I can get it a little closer. When that thing's sitting still, that skirt, it slowly opens up while it's sitting there. It gives it that defensive posture that a crawfish would have. Makes it look bigger than what it actually is. That's one of the things that I really like about this Divine Hybrid Jig. It's how that skirt opens up like that. A lot of them you have to trim the skirt to make them do that. This one automatically does it. And all I'm going to do is just drag it one more time, just so you can see what it looks like. Man, that thing looks good in the water. Look how wide that skirt opens up. Whew. Alright, so now I'm going to flip it out there and we're just going to hop it back to us. That's all I'm going to do. Just one hop at a time. This is my number one way to catch bass with this thing. It's just hopping it. Now, depending on how active the bass are is how long I let it sit on the bottom before I hop between hops. But I'm hopping it fairly quick just so this video doesn't take 37 minutes. Look how man, that thing looks so good. I'd eat it if I was a fish. I've caught tons and tons of big bass on this thing doing just like that, just hopping it. And like dragging it, when it hits the bottom, that skirt opens up, has that defensive posture. It looks so good in the water. Ooh, that thing looks good. Now, the third way that I like to use this to catch bass is swimming it back like a swim jig. Now, when I say swim it back, I'm not swimming it with the reel. I'm swimming it with the rod. I'm just slowly hopping it and reeling up the slack is all I'm doing. Just like this. when I swim it. Let's do it one more time just so you can see. All I'm doing is popping the rod a couple times and reeling up the slack before it hits the bottom. That's all I do with a swim jig. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this little video on how I use the Divine hybrid jig to catch fish. These are the three main ways. I mean, there's a couple other, the possibilities are endless with this thing. But these are the main ways that I use it to catch fish. No matter if I'm fishing shallow, deep, it doesn't matter. Those three ways work. And this jig works. It's probably one of the best jigs I've ever used in my life. I have a box full of jigs. This is the one that I tie on every time I go fishing. It's the one that consistently, day in and day out, catches me fish. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Appreciate you guys watching. Hit that subscribe button right there if you like what you saw. I got a couple of videos on this side right here and here. If you haven't seen those, click those too. I'll see you guys tomorrow.